Today, we're going to talk about market reports and seller valuations, how all those work in BoldTrail, and how you can leverage those with your current database and also leverage these to increase your database and get more leads for yourself. What you'll need is a BoldTrail account. That's really all you'll need. Some extra things that will help you with this, obviously, will be some contacts and then also social media. So if you have any social media channels that you like to post to, those will be beneficial. Where can you find all these tools at? So, you know, one of the things I get asked a lot with Bold Trail is, hey, I just don't know where to find this stuff. There's so much stuff in here. Don't know where it's at. First and foremost, your website. On your website, and the top right, there's a little option that says sell. Now you can change that. You can title it something like listing valuation or what's my home worth, whatever you want. Mine's just marked as sell, but that's where your listing valuation portion of your website is at. So if somebody wants to go to your website and they see the sell option here, they will be taken to a page where they can enter their information, their address, and then they will get a listing valuation for their property. Now, most of us know people aren't really going to our websites organically. If they are, they're probably not looking for this sell option. So it's really good to promote this, right? So that's why I wanted to point that out. Now, there are settings for this. In the marketing tab on the left-hand side of Bold Trail, there's a market report and listing valuation setting, which we'll take a look at. There's also a CMA builder in here. So you could create a market report for someone directly in BoldTrail. So you don't have to go to your MLS to do it, which is really cool. Also, in the contact card, when you're in your contact in BoldTrail, you'll see the timeline in the middle of all the properties and emails and text messages and all the stuff that you've done with this contact. Valuation settings is market reports and seller reports, and obviously listing valuation here as well. So you can do all of those within the contact card itself. You can sort your contacts and search for anyone who doesn't have one of these. So in the filter section of your contacts, you can say, hey, I want to find any contacts that do not currently have a market report or do not currently have a seller report or valuation. Then you can go in and save that filter and work on that one by one, reaching out to the people or just setting it up for them if you have that information. You can also build a squeeze page for both of these. So the seller squeeze page, what that's going to do is give them a market report for their property, so a listing valuation. And then there's obviously the market report section. What a squeeze page is, in a quick nutshell, is a link that you generate that sends people to your website to look at the respective thing you set up, right? So what I mean by that is if you set up a seller squeeze page, you're going to put the source in here. You can apply a hashtag and then you could put a location, hit generate link for yourself. And then that's what you're going to post on your social media channels. Maybe you create a QR code for it. For example, what I did is I actually created a landing page for a listing valuation report and I put it on my sign in front of my house. So somebody can walk by my house, scan the QR code, they'll get an introduction to who I am, they'll get a link to go get a listing valuation on their property, and boom, they become a lead in my CRM. And then I've set up campaigns to text them, email them, and nurture them. That's what you can do with the squeeze pages. Here's what the listing valuation report looks like. On the left-hand side, this section here, we'll take a look at the website, but you're going to see three valuation types. So there's Atom, ATTOM, Zillow, which is huge, and then CoreLogic. These are the three most used and most accurate AVMs or automatic valuation tools, essentially. When somebody goes to your website to get a listing valuation, they're actually getting three, which is huge. Most people just set up themselves on Zillow, right? And get a Zillow alert. Well, you have these other two industry powerhouses that are really good for this. Now, obviously, these are automated valuations. You are the expert, so you want to make sure that you're conveying that when you reach out to the person. A good leading question would be, were you surprised by any of the prices that you were given through my website for your listing valuation? Most of the time they're gonna say, yeah, it was way more than I thought, or no, it was a little less than what I thought it was. The nice thing when it provides you with these three is now you get to play devil's advocate, and you also get to tell them right away, Zillow's not the only place to look for how much your property is worth. I am the person that will help you find the accurate price for your neighborhood, for your house, so on and so forth. That's a really good deep dive into the overview of why you have these three listing valuation programs built in to your CRM. The next thing you'll see is the area map. You'll see buyers looking for homes in these areas. It's color coded. The darker the area, the hotter it is for people looking for homes. The person who looks at this will be able to gauge, like, okay, I live in a hot area. Maybe I can sell my house. Maybe now is the time. Then it's going to give you four relative properties that match their property. So it's going to price one that's slightly above, maybe one extra bedroom, a little bit bigger square footage, maybe a bigger lot. It's going to do one opposite of that, maybe one less, maybe a little bit, maybe it's a townhome, something like that, but and then two are that are similar. So it's going to average those four. On the right-hand side, it's going to give you how many leads are in your database. For example, this one says there's 3,782,000 leads. That's actually all of the leads and all the CRMs of all the EXP agents who use BoldTrail. Okay. So because we belong to EXP, that's what you'll see. Yours will look exactly the same. Then you're going to see how many are in your team or office, and then how many are engaging with you, and then how many have a search alert set up that match your buyer's criteria. So in this example, if somebody came into my website and they saw this listing valuation, they can see that there are 30 buyers in my database that I have access to that would match my listing criteria right away. So these are actual people in our database that match this. That's also why it's really important to have a search alert set up for anybody in your database because it gives you more meaningful data to use. Next is the market report section. This is also in your website. And this will just give you a market report overall. So how many homes are on the market? How many days on market? What's the average market price? All of that kind of stuff. This is another lead generation tool that you can have to send people to your website to view that market they're in. Now, what I did is I actually went to my website. If you're not sure your website is, top right hand corner. Your website's right here under your dashboard. Just go to your website. And then you'll see that sell page right here. What I would suggest to do is put yourself in there, see what it looks like, see if it's accurate, see if you like it, so on and so forth. But when you click that, what it's going to do is it's going to take you to a page once you've entered your information in, like this. You'll notice I only get Zillow. Fortunately or unfortunately, I live in a brand new neighborhood. So my house hasn't fully registered with all the places yet. That's why you only see the Zillow estimate here. But you might get an instance like this, right? So that's also a good reason why there's three options here. Now you'll see there's only two for me. There's only two for me because the third one doesn't operate in my area. I wouldn't get too hung up on comps because this is really all designed for you to have conversations with the people who are interested in this information. It's going to give you your bio, your logos, all that. Below that, it's going to give you that heat map we talked about. So it's going to show you where those comps are located. A is my house. Yeah. B is this one up here, all the way to E, which is this one right here. I know these neighborhoods. These are all fairly new neighborhoods. So that makes sense why it would do that. Also, this heat map here, the areas that are lighter blue are not as hot as the areas that are darker. So what this is telling me is this area down here is the hottest area in my county. It gives you some insight and some meaningful information to have conversations with people. Again, then down here, we already talked about this, but those are all your leads and people who have search alerts and match that criteria. That's on your website. I would definitely go check that out for yourself, see how it works. The next thing is the market reports. So this is how that works. Homes for sale, how many are for sale, how many days on market, average price sold. So you can see those are different, which is quite interesting. So the average home price is about 665 and the average sold price is 650, which means maybe it's starting to turn into a buyer's market because they're getting their prices a little bit lower. All of this is here for you to have meaningful conversations with somebody who's interested in maybe what the market's doing, maybe what their home is doing. Another thing to do is you get a seller who's interested. This is another value add that you can give to them. Hey, you're interested in moving to this area or you're interested in selling your property? Let me set you up on a market report so you get this every 28 days so you can stay up to date with the market. What that does is it keeps them coming back to your website, keeps them engaging with you, it keeps you at top of mind with those people because most of the time you're not the only agent talking to them. But if you can lead with value, that will help you become the listing agent. So, where do you find all this stuff? Well, there's a couple of areas. The quick place we're going to check is the contact section. And we're going to take a look at a contact. So I got this Lincoln. He's an active lead for me. Just a quick overview. So the left-hand side here is all the information about how the lead came in, who owns it, all of that sort of stuff. The middle part here is all the leads timeline, how many properties have they looked at, so on and so forth. And on the right-hand side are all of the automated actions that you're taking for this contact. The top is a task. Have you scheduled appointments? Here's a search alert that I've set up for him. Are they on any active campaigns? Then you're going to see your market report section. You're going to see your listing valuation section. You're also going to see your seller report section. And you can manually add this information right here. So if I wanted to turn on a market report, I can just click add, select the location, and then I can set the frequency of how often I want to send this market report. So if this person is an active listing or an active buyer that I want to work with, I can set them up on a once weekly market report to help them stay involved in the market. If they're a little bit longer term, let's say 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, I can put them on a monthly one. So you can set how you want that to be. Then below that is your seller report. If you're listing the property, you can put the MLS ID in here and it will set the seller report for them. They'll get weekly information about their property views, their market, all that stuff. Then the listing valuation is above that. I find this actually really interesting because this property I didn't add. It actually looked up through the verified. When you could verify a lead, it found this address for him and added it automatically. So I can send him a listing valuation for his property here in Oregon if I want. That's how you can set up those on an individual basis. If you come down here to marketing, this is where you're going to see your marketing reports and listing valuations settings. It might look different for you. My screen's big, so it kind of makes everything bigger, but yours might be stacked. But anyways, they all look exactly the same as far as the icons. So if I click get started underneath the market report and listing valuation settings, I can turn these on or off depending on how I want it to go. So market report activation, once a listing is viewed, use that area to set up a market report. If a lead has no listing valuation or market report, but does have a search alert, set up a market report for that area of interest indicated by their search alert. So this isn't automation, okay? So what we're doing is we're saying anybody that comes to my website or puts in their address, I want to automatically set them up on a valuation. Or if they're looking at properties in a specific area, that means they're interested in that area. So I want to set them up on a market report. It's going to automatically send them those market reports that we just reviewed. That's why having a CRM is so beneficial because there's a lot of actions that can happen in the back end that you don't need to take actions on. It's just helping you be more streamlined and add value to people who might not otherwise get it. Now, we talked about squeeze pages, so let's take a look at that. Click on lead engine on the left-hand side, and you see the section that says IDX squeeze page. You're going to select your domain name. What that does is it tells the lead where to go when they click on the link. Click start building, and then you're going to see seller squeeze and market report. Now, they're straightforward to set up. What you're going to do is put the source in here. The source is like, where am I posting this? Am I posting it on Instagram, on a flyer, on Facebook? You just put the source in there, and all that does is let you know where that lead came from when they click on the link. Then you can apply a hashtag for it. The hashtags are really neat because when the lead clicks on the link, they'll be entered into your system. They'll auto apply with a hashtag. And then that is what you can use to start your or trigger your smart campaigns. So those are your automations, right? If the lead comes in, I can have a campaign set up to trigger off that seller FB hashtag. Then I'm going to put the location in here and hit generate link. And you'll see it generates two links, a long link and a short link. The short link is what you're going to use to promote on your social media. Maybe send out a text, create a QR code, and put it on a sign like I did in my front yard. Same with the market report. So you're going to do the exact same steps. You're going to put the area, you're going to put the source, put a hashtag, and then hit generate report. When anybody clicks on those links, they're going to be taken to this page, depending on which type of link you generated for yourself. Again, if you guys have any questions about this, you want to dive deeper into this, you want to learn more and have a consultation with me, you can schedule a call using this QR code.